Peace Reflections. I want to talk about something today. Um, this is coming up in my experience today, not personally, but it is a personal experience because one of my reflections is experiencing bullying. So I really wanted to touch base on this archetype. What is an archetype? So archetypes go back as far back as Plato, but there's a psychologist by the name of Carl Jung who describes several archetypes and characteristics based on your personality, as well as observation of repeating patterns of thoughts and actions that keep appearing from time to time. So there's hundreds of archetypes. They are, again, based on your personality. So they are characteristics of your personality based on your past experiences, um, or judgments while on your life path, right? So, so today I wanted to talk about archetypes, specifically the bully archetype, which goes along with the victim archetype. Now, all archetypes are neutral, but they manifest in both light and shadow aspects, seeing that we are in duality within the personality or the mind. We transcend duality when we go beyond in spirit. But today, I want to talk about these personality traits and how they are created based on their perception. Um, we all share 4 archetypes, but there are hundreds of archetypes. And the 4 that we share are the child, the victim, the prostitute, and the saboteur. But today I want to specifically talk about the bully archetype. I will continue to make videos in regards to these archetypes. I think it's very important to be aware when an archetype is showing up in your life, within your personality, in your outer reflections. I think that in order to be aware of these shadow aspects, we must know what they are to turn them into the light aspects. So, symbolically, well, let me just say that the archetypes of the bully manifest the core truth that the spirit is always stronger than the body, right? So, symbolically, our physical body can bully our spirits with any number of reasons why we should back down from our challenges, which appear to overwhelm us, especially if the challenge is perceived to be a huge challenge, whether it be in school, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be on a project, whether it be in your home space. Um, 9 times out of 10, we bully ourselves or sabotage ourselves or become the victim so that we don't have to face these challenges, these perceived challenges. And I say perceived because if you did not perceive them as a challenge, you would not experience the archetype. You would not experience the mental, psychological shadow side of an archetype. You would only experience the light side all the time because you are transcending the mind. When you're transcending the mind and you're in spirit, the challenge becomes an opportunity. And then it is immediately or already as in the light side of every archetype. Okay, so your relationship to the bullying archetype should be evaluated within a framework far more expansive than evaluating whether you bully people, right? Or you're being bullied. So consider whether you're on your life path, you confront one experience and relationship after another that appear to have more power than you and ultimately leads you to ask yourself, will I stand up to this challenge? Again, you can totally transcend the shadow if you are asking, will I stand up to this challenge? Transforming the shadow aspect of that archetype, which will thrust you into the light aspect when you see the challenge as an opportunity. So people are often called to take on bullies for the sake of others, like David and Goliath. And this is just another, connection to the archetype. There are many connections to the archetypes, and I'll give you examples. Um, Conventional wisdom holds that underneath a bully is a coward trying to keep others from discovering their own true identity. And symbolically, the coward within has to stand up to being bullied by his own fears, right? Which in fact uh, direct a path to empowerment through this bully archetype. So all of your paths will be directed to empowerment, right? From the shadow to the light aspect through these archetypes. So, what is a bully? I have these cool cards here. They are from Carolyn Meese. They're called archetype cards, and they're just really, really, really awesome. I know it's backwards, so let me read it to you. The bully. The shadow attribute conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. The light attribute highlights your tendency to intimidate others. It helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. Okay? And there is a guidebook here. And in the guidebook under bully, it says it should be evaluated by far more than whether you bully people, right? So this is definitely an inner issue. This is not an outer issue. So symbolically, we bully our spirits into backing down from challenges, which I already spoke of. Beneath the bully lurks the coward, which the bully masks. So the bully is actually a cover-up of the coward. Shadow bully always gives in to fear by lashing out. Now, I know in my experience, that is actually happening now with a reflection. The reflection is lashing out, and the reflection is lashing out to possibly mask the coward. But there's a greater challenge, and there's an inner challenge that doesn't want to be faced. So in this reflections experience, what this reflection is reflecting is a bully archetype. And in this reflection must ask himself what the fears are within. Because if those fears from within can be exposed, there will be no more lashing out. And when the perception is changed from the shadow attribute, when the fears are being exposed, that will in turn turn to the light aspect where you can confront those fears within you and turn them to a catalyst of love, right? So honestly, you have to assess whether you have a lifelong pattern of bullying others to cover up your own fears. So like I said, this is definitely an inner thing, not an outer thing, although it will project to your outer experience, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. Okay, so this is really, really important that you assess what your fears are and expose them. you will see that once you feel safe enough to expose them, the shadow aspect of these deep fears that are being masked or concealed or held onto will immediately shine a bright light, helping you to confront those inner fears that are bullying your spirit from being able to service the world, right? Or or just being authentic and real in the world. Okay, and oftentimes this will go along with the victim archetype. I will get there. Um, there's in some movies, right? Matt Dillon in The Bodyguard, in My Bodyguard, Mel Gibson in Braveheart, Burt Lahr in Wizard of Oz, Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets, right? These are all movies based on the bullying slash coward archetypes. Um, the book, The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Vincent Benet. The fairy tale, Jack and the Beanstalk, or Jack and the Giant Killer, Jack the Giant Killer. These are examples of the bully archetype, as in the movies, the books, and the fairy tales. So the victim, here is, I wrote on this card, but here is the victim card. Because if you are in the shadow attribute of the bully, then you are in the shadow attribute of being a victim. So if you are concealing your fears behind verbal or physical abuse, then you think that you're a victim and you're playing this victim for positive feedback from in the form of pity. You want people to pity you. You want people to feel bad for you because you're being bullied, right? Inability to maintain personal boundaries. So when you're a victim and you're hiding behind these deep fears, you are not standing in your personal, within your personal boundaries. You're coming outside of your own personal boundaries for the sake of being a victim and projecting verbal or physical abuse on another. So I want to talk about the light aspect of the victim. Hi, Swan. Hi, beautiful heart. I did not see your comment. I'm sorry. I will scroll back. It went away. But the light attribute of being a victim prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. So once you become aware of your deep fears, right? You're exposing the shadow attributes or the characteristics of your patterns based on your past experiences. You are being catapulted into the light attributes of of being confronting the inner fears that are bullying you, right? And when you do that, you you are preventing yourself from being victimized or victimizing others. You will not do that. You will transform the shadow attributes to the light attributes. As soon as you see the within, as within, so without. Now, when you properly recognize the victim archetype or any archetype at all, it can be such a great help in letting us know when we're in danger of letting ourselves be victimized, right? Often through being passive, but also through inappropriate actions or an action in a lower frequency in regards to the shadow attribute, right? So these attributes, as well as the victim attribute, because we all share four, and I'll do another video on that. And victim is the one that we all share. So it can help us see our own tendency to victimize others for personal gain. Yeah, and in its shadow aspect, the victim shows us that we may like to play the victim at times because of the half-ass, backwards, positive feedback that we receive in the form of sympathy, empathy, or pity from others. And this will continue the victim archetype. It'll continue this pattern being played out over and 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 in your life until you're exhausted and you're ready to expose the fears um, behind the past experiences um, of verbal or physical abuse, right? So our goal is always to learn how to recognize these these attitudes, these characteristics in ourselves or others, and do the work accordingly. These are so helpful in recognizing the reflection that you are projecting out to the world or that you are receiving within your lenses, right? This is fun. It's extremely fun. It's extremely painful when you have to do the work, right? But when you do this, I guarantee you, your growth goes through the roof and you feel part of humanity. You feel the collectiveness. You feel, and I'm an Aquarius, so I'm a humanitarian. So I want to share it with the world. And it feels, and I did this work. I did this work for several years, and I'm always doing the work, but I am living in light attributes now. I am living in the peace of opportunity, the peace of confronting uh, my past experiences from within, my peace of watching what I am putting out into the world, what films or movies um, will depict the victim archetype. So Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry, Jodie Foster in The Accused, Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice, um, Glenn Close in Reversal of Fortune, and which books? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Stevenson, Misery by Stephen King, and Isaac, the son of Abraham, who God ordered Abraham to sacrifice. Yeah, that was a victim archetype. In Greek mythology, Hercules, right? Seized by Busiris, the mythical king of Egypt, who sacrificed all strangers to the gods to avert famine. And Hercules avoided being victimized by using his great strength to break his chains and slay Busiris. Yeah. So I just wanted to come on and do a quick video in regards to these archetypes. Like I said, oh, I forgot to go back. Hold on. I wanted to read you the guidebook for the victim. So when properly recognized, the victim alerts you when you're in danger of letting yourself be victimized, either through passivity or rash, inappropriate actions. It also helps you to see your own tendency to victimize others for personal gain, which I said that. Shadow victim shows you that you might like to play that role because of the positive feedback you get in the form of sympathy or pity. And everyone has this archetype. The goal is always to learn how to recognize these inappropriate attitudes in ourselves or others and to act accordingly. I wouldn't necessarily call them inappropriate. I think that they're appropriate. I think that they are appropriate. I think that you just have to become aware of the appropriateness that you are displaying an archetype, whether it be a shadow archetype or a light archetype, and projecting it from your perception, right? Is it love or is it fear? And you know whether that is. You know, you can feel the alignment of whether something's in alignment or not. And then all you must do is go within to assess within this bully archetype. Go within to assess the feeling, assess the fears. You know, are there fears there? There are fears there if you're bullying or experiencing bullying. And the fear is projected in verbal or physical abuse, but from within, it's deeper. It's because there's a challenge there that you think you have to stand up to. And changing that or comforting yourself, you change the challenge to an opportunity. And when it becomes an opportunity, you will be able to take, which is you standing up to your fears that are bullying you. Beautiful. So I just wanted to share that with all of you. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, um, message me, comments. I mean, let's get down to this. We really need to do this beautiful work and to help our children, right? So if we don't understand these archetypes and how they play out in our life, then we can't help our children. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments and sharing this knowledge, turning it into wisdom, sharing it with all your reflections, especially the children. The children are our new elder. So if the children are experiencing bullying and they're being a victim as a result of bullying, um, I hope this video helps you. I hope it helps you go within to uncover the fears, to expose them, turn them to the light attributes, and be able to gift this love, gift this knowledge and wisdom, which it will turn into wisdom once you gift it, and share it with everyone. So, peace reflections, and I love myself.